This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
I'll have a blue Christmas without...
Every year when we turn the radio on around this time of year, eventually you will no doubt hear Elvis singing Blue Christmas. And Blue Christmas has taken on different meaning in more modern times, hasn't it, Chris?
It has. We just see increasing numbers of folks that are reporting depression, whether it's a diagnosable level of depression or just some simple, we'll say minor levels of depression or sadness during the holiday season. It is increasing.
I see more than one church sign advertising Blue Christmas services.
I applaud their efforts, understanding that this is a hard time of the year, a time they need to reach out even more. Not that they shouldn't the rest of the year, but this is the time when everybody's thinking about loving their neighbor and reaching out more to just help fill in the gap at times.
Christmas, the season of joy and brightness and all that, but if you're in a different place at that time in your life, that can be torture almost.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that, we need to be willing to be those hands and feet of Jesus and do what we can to support and make a difference during the season, of course, but also we want to make sure that we maintain those efforts at other times of the year as well.
In your practice, do you see a bit of an uptick toward the end of the year?
I do. And what's also very interesting, sometimes during the Christmas holidays, people get very busy, and that busyness helps to, believe it or not, take their mind off of their concerns for a while. So at times the numbers actually dip around the holidays when people get busy with holiday gatherings. And then afterwards it goes back up after the lights are taken down and the decorations are put away. But those gray skies remain, especially in this area of the country. So that's when I tend to see an upswing.
Loneliness and having lost a loved one certainly has to figure into that. Doesn't necessarily even have to be a recent loss.
It doesn't. And for folks, let's say, that are within that 1 to, let's say, 3-year range of losing a loved one, holidays, birthdays, anniversaries are going to be times that are harder to cope, depending on the relationship and depending on the importance that people have placed on the holidays can determine whether or not the holidays are harder or not quite as hard. We start thinking back to the good times, we start thinking back to the memories, and for sure, people are going to have a harder time during the holidays.
You're listening to Real Answers. I'm Mark Webster, here along with licensed mental health counselor Christopher Anderson, talking about Blue Christmas. Let's flesh that out even a little bit more. I mean, most people, I think, just think they're going to just kind of wait it out dealing with those sorts of issues, but that's not really the best approach.
It really depends on your own set of circumstances. I lost my father 4 years ago on Christmas morning. On his birthday or during the holidays, I think about him more. It's going to make me feel a little bit down during those times, but as I've drawn closer to remaining family members and my own family, that does obviously help with the grieving process. Now, if you find you just cannot seem to pull yourself out of it, then by all means, reach out to your pastor or reach out to a trusted friend who shares the faith and shares your understanding, just for that extra support.
For family and friends who know that there's someone who's definitely down this time of year, best advice for them to help be helpful?
Especially if it's a believer, just make sure that your presence is there and that you're letting your loved ones know what might be the best way for getting extra support to them. Don't assume that you know how they want to be supported. Ask them, what can I do to help you get through this time? They might just simply say, just pray, or just your presence of being there. Share scripture if you feel that it's warranted. And the reason why I say that is sometimes very well-meaning Christians will just throw scripture at somebody without realizing they already know those scriptures. Sometimes not even using the words, but just being present with somebody, just being there, just saying, hey, listen, in addition to praying, in addition to sharing with you scriptures, in addition to that, is there anything else I can do that's a little more tangible at that present moment? Can I go do your grocery shopping for you? Can I run out and do some errands for you? Is there anything I can do in addition to praying? We might not have the answers. I've got some dear loved ones here in the listening area that are really struggling with health issues and long-term health issues as well, that sometimes those answers aren't quick to come in word form. We want to find that magic, something that we can say to pull somebody through not only the holidays, but unanswered health questions like, God, why is this happening? When the answers don't come easily, sometimes just your presence, just saying, listen, I'm not leaving you, I'm here, I'm not going to leave you alone, that's what is needed at that point. In addition to praying and interceding for them, they might need some alone time. But be aware, though, too, that if you're really, truly concerned about their safety, that may consider harming themselves, don't hesitate to call some help and get somebody there to really help them, because you want to take anything of that nature very seriously. If you're really truly afraid of somebody's safety at that moment, by all means, you might be upset at first, but listen, later on, they'll work through that. You may have just intervened in a way that saves their life as well.
Got to read the room.
Absolutely.
You've been listening to Real Answers, a Wednesday feature of the Family Life Noon Report, where we discuss the issues important to families with licensed mental health counselor Christopher Anderson. Thanks, Chris. Hope you have a non-blue Christmas.
My pleasure. You too, Mark.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.